start. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to the Science of Gratitude with me, Dr. Hina Udwani, and we are having a certified coach join us for this month's program with two workshops, Evo. So Evo is a certified coach. He's a Kuan Yin lineage holder. I think everybody here is more or less familiar with him. Do you want to say hi, Evo? Do you want to say a couple of words before we begin?
Hello everyone. A couple of words. I'm very happy to be here and to be assisting Hina for this gratitude vibe. That's what I have to say.
Yes, the aspect of gratitude is so important. And that is why we are going to take this next few weeks to really dive deep into this aspect. Um, and this workshop is also especially geared for new people. So if you know anyone, it's their first time and they aren't familiar with the teachings of Dr. Master Ji Gang Sha, please invite them. Or even if you have like kids who are old enough, 17 and older, they get the workshop complimentary because we want to spread this wisdom to as many people as possible, especially new people. But also, if you're a longer term student, if you're in the spiritual journey, if you want to grow, this is also very important because gratitude is one of those aspects, one of those Tao qualities that is very much needed if you want to grow on the spiritual journey. So I thank everyone for being here. And let me just admit some more people. So I want to thank everyone for being here and recognizing that this aspect is one that really humanity as a collective has not really honed into that power, that frequency enough. And as we know, the Tao is unlimited. So there is no limit to what gratitude, the aspect of gratitude can offer for you. So it is something that is actually really deep. It has many different facets. And what we hope to really accomplish with this workshop and this journey throughout the month is we're going to be doing for a longer term student, we are going to be doing a lot of clearing. We're going to be doing a lot of mind reprogramming, which is why Evo is going to be using a method called a focusing method to really help open up our perspectives. So let me go ahead and share the PowerPoint, just because sometimes when we're visual, we'll be able to understand the process that we are going to be taking, the journey that we are going to be taking over this next month, which is what I enjoy doing. I enjoy having people go through this journey of the steps of the spiritual path, but in a way that saves them a lot of time and as much not going through a lot of pain, if possible, that we had to go through, that I had to go through. If it saves someone else a lot of time and pain, then obviously I want them to benefit from the pain or whatever mistakes I've made to get to this point. So we can all grow together. So the science of gratitude, discover the formula of unlimited growth. So there is a science to everything. There's a pattern to everything. Negative information has its patterns. Nature has its patterns. Our DNA sequence, everything has a pattern. Everything builds on top of other. And there are laws called universal laws that basically no matter where, who, it doesn't matter your name, it will work for you. It can work against you too, because we live in that world. We live in the world of yin and yang. So it can go either way. But what we are trying to do is increase the positive as much as possible and decrease the negative as much as possible. Now, with the aspect of gratitude, even though it is known as an emotion, there's still a science to our emotions. There's still a science to our karmic patterns, to the patterns of our thinking, to the patterns that are so deeply ingrained in our information fields that has accumulated of not just one lifetime, but multiple lifetimes. And we're going through a process of slowly undoing those karmic threads or those patterns of negative information that is binds us to those same habits, to those same mindsets, to those same attachments. And sometimes this process, because it's so deep, we don't recognize it because it's so ingrained in us. But when we have a guide or outside someone looking in, they can actually help us spot it. And then we can work on it a lot quicker. Whereas if we're constantly always just looking by ourselves alone and it deeply reflecting, which is you still have to do that, you can still do it. It just takes a little bit longer. It's a lot quicker if you have a teacher. Like yesterday, I was trying, me and my father were trying to figure out this fancy ladder. We couldn't do it. It was like such a fancy ladder. Like it had four locks on each side and it could be done in like structured in 5 or 6 different ways. We couldn't do it. But when my sister who bought the ladder, who's familiar with the ladder, it would take her like 2 seconds. Whereas with us, we were there for like 30 minutes. We gave up. My dad hurt his hand. So I was like, oh, goodness gracious. Okay. But when you have someone who knows the subject, who understands it, and it doesn't mean that they're perfect at it, it doesn't mean me and Evil are always grateful and we're always perfect, but we've gone for far enough where we've seen the pitfalls, we've fallen in the pitfalls, we've made the mistakes, and we figured out how can we get out of it a lot quicker. So that is one aspect of this emotion that helps us, but there's also a science to it. There's a formula to this aspect of emotion of gratitude, and that's what we're going to go. We're going to really hone in and have this structure of gratitude where we will deeply embed it in our subconscious and our conscious mind. So it manifests on the energy and matter level. Everything is Shen Qi Jing, the universal law of Shen Qi Jing, of soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter. So everyone's familiar with me that's here. I think, because I think most of us are from London. Okay. And okay, so my qualifications and goals, I'm an optometrist. I'm very much into science, but I'm also very much into the spiritual journey, the different philosophies, meditation, universal meditation, meditation for children. So I have various and different qualifications. So what is the Tao quality of gratitude and why is it vitally important? Structures and goals of the 4-week program. So before we get into all this, I prepared a special little quiz for everybody here. Okay, so I prepared a little quiz for everybody here. So if you can please take a couple of minutes and just ask yourself these questions, and if you can, maybe even physically answer, so we can kind of get some information into who's here and how far along you are and what are you looking for. So number one, how long have you been a student of Master Sha? You can put the amount of time in the chat or on the quiz. Give you a few seconds because that shouldn't be too hard, I hope. Okay, question number 2. Do you know about spiritual testing? So you can put it in the chat. Who knows? I think we should get 100% on this. Everyone knows about spiritual testing, right? Okay, question number 3. How do you pass your spiritual testing? 1, do you not recognize it as yet? 2, do you chant? Ooh, 100% on chant. Okay. 3, pray, trace, or some people might just shut down. So how do you pass your spiritual testing? Zoe, 5+ years. Wow, amazing. So we got 100% on do you know spiritual testing? How do you pass your spiritual testing? Chanting. Would you like to know the simplest way how to?
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm on my phone and I'm not sure where to go, how to answer.
You can answer on the chat or yeah, question number 4. Sorry, that snuck in. You can answer on the chat. And it'll give me the answer on the quiz. On my screen.
There is nothing to who can see your responses. The account owner and host will be able to see who you are. If you are logged in and your response continue. Okay, there is nothing I can touch that will open for me to type my answer. Even the word submit is in gray. It's not ready to be.
Oh, you can just put it in the chat.
Okay, I cannot put it in here. Nothing on. Can you see me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you see my screen, me?
Yes, I can. Okay, so while Zoe's putting it in the chat, would you like to know the simplest way how to pass all the spiritual testings all the time? Who would like to know that? You can raise your hand, put yes, you can press it on the chat. Who wants to know how to pass all your tests all the time? And I think it's going to be very obvious about that from the title of this workshop. We've gotten that answer. And basically, so question number 6. Do you know what you receive as you tell new people about the Tao calligraphy field or Master Sha or his teachers? So 67% said yes, 33% said no. So if you could put it in the chat, what do you think you receive from heaven or even for your own personal development as you tell people, new people, your friends, colleagues, coworkers about the Tao calligraphy field or Master Sha? You can put it in the chat because I'm very curious to know, how do we think about what we are learning, this journey? What are we doing? What are we supposed to do? What is part of our task? So if you can put it in the chat, what do you think you receive as you tell new people about Tao calligraphy field, Master Sha, his teachers? You can put one word. What do you think you receive? Wisdom, love, light, divine frequency, and vibration. Anyone else? Okay, so let's go ahead and get through. Anna got it. Heaven's flowers. Yep, virtue. Perfect.
Attica said wisdom.
Yep, said that. Wisdom. Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is also just to keep in mind that if there's someone you can think of right now that will benefit from the Science of Gratitude program, Karen said virtue, perfect. Yep, exactly. It is one of these programs where we are going to really understand and go deep into not just the one aspect of gratitude, because everything ties into everything else. It is really important that we learn to start sharing what we are being offered in teachings, in what we are learning to others, in our surroundings, to our family members. Maybe some people aren't open to it, but when it's coming from a different source, like me or Evo or someone else, our family members will take it a little bit differently. Because one of the great paradoxes of being on the spiritual journey is that we will have tests and we will have to go through a process where the people closest to us will question us. They will say, what are you doing? Or you've changed, and all these different things. But it is to test us, because as we are changing, as we are growing, we are transforming, we're evolving, and we're not staying the same, which is their comfort zone, because they think they know us and they see us as this. All of a sudden, we're not this. We're growing and we're changing, and that makes them uncomfortable. Then their blockages come up. So, as many people as we can slowly introduce in our surrounding, in our sphere of influence, it is actually easier for us to continue to grow on this journey, because we are really founding ourselves on that positive information. So instead of getting drowned in their negative information, we're pulling them up. And sometimes it's easier to receive it from someone who is not close to our friends or family members. So please, if you know anyone who might be interested, it's free for them. So they lose nothing, and you get to introduce them. You get your Heaven's Virtue flowers, which Attica said wisdom. So if that's what Heaven thinks that she needs at this time, it'll manifest in that. If it's a health virtue flowers, it'll manifest in that for someone else. It will, if it's smoothing out a job or finances or a relationship, then it will manifest as that, because Heaven source knows us more than we know ourselves. Because the way Heaven sees us and God and divine sees us, it's like an x-ray. They see everything. So, and they know where we're lacking, where we need improvement, where we need growth, where we need testing. So they are, it's always good to trust Heaven. So you lose nothing by just saying, hey, look, it's free. Please come to the introduction. It's 6 hours. And really, they lose nothing, but you also gain. It's just a matter of being open. So we will be wording our language, because everyone here is a longer term student. I'm adjusting my language a little bit. But for the workshop, it will be a lot more geared towards newer people, and we can take it down a little bit as we need. So I already mentioned my qualifications, and I always like to repeat my ultimate goal, because my ultimate goal truly is to empower participants to understand and connect with their own souls and to manifest their lives full of love, peace, harmony, and happiness. And nothing would make me happier than to see all of you happier and growing. So the schedule, really quickly, for the next 4 weeks, for the people who register for the program, and there's different options if you just want the workshop or if you want treasures. The Saturday workshop coming up this Saturday, then we'll have Saturday classes, 4 of them, and then an end workshop at the end of August. So we'll have a beginning workshop, we'll have the process program over the 4 weeks, and then we'll have the end workshop at the end of August. There'll also be recording, there'll be practices, there'll be soul readings and guidance, and if you wish, there'll also be treasures. Depending on what you need, we'll do a soul guided reading. And depending on what you need for your fastest growth or your immediate need, we will go with that. And then you can choose, because there's different options. We don't want anyone confused, and we want everyone to get what they actually need. Okay, so I invited a friend, but she's not here. That's fine. She's one of those logical persons, so I thought the word science in the workshop title enticed her, but maybe she's busy with work still. That's fine. If she can come for a little bit for the workshop, that will be perfect as well. She can see the recordings. So now, what is gratitude, the location of gratitude? Now, in Master Sha's wisdom, gratitude is associated with the second soul house. So now this slide has a lot going on, so I don't want anyone to be confused, but I did want the longer term students to understand the importance of this aspect of quality. So yes, we have the middle dantian, which is the heart center, hugely important. We all need it. We all need multiple layers of it. We know that. It's in our Shen Qi Jing. We know that. Same thing with the third eye and the upper, or in other words, the upper dantian. So we've gone through these classes already earlier in the year. I've done it. So the second soul house. Look at everything going on, all these secret energy centers in our lower abdomen. There is so many secret acupuncture points, energy centers, soul houses that are the closest. And it's all going on in our lower abdomen. So we have the first soul house, the second soul house, the third soul house. We have the lower dantian that's in our lower abdomen, which is associated closely with the second soul house, which is associated with the aspect of gratitude. So it helps actually even increase our energy, helps us lose weight, has many aspects to the second soul house, but we are going to focus on the quality of gratitude for this workshop. Look how close it is to the Mingmen acupuncture point. It's close to our Kundalini. It's close to our way in, that secret acupuncture point. So a lot of things are happening in our lower abdomen, lots of secret energy points, which means actually most of our focus really has to be in our lower abdomen, strengthening our foundation, because the stronger our foundation is, the more we can clear, and one always feeds into another. Nothing is just separate in a compartment. Everything has a feedback loop. Everything is going one to another. And we have treasures for everything, just so in case you're missing something, we can check and let you know if something is needed or not. Now, the message center, as I mentioned already, super important area because it is just huge. Everything goes through the message center. So for any longer term student, if you don't already have a message center treasure, this is just a FYI in case you don't have it. Please get one because that'll make your journey a lot more clear. I mean, it's the financial center, it's your relationship center, it is your open spiritual channels center because it's messages where the messages are stored, your inner balance, compassion, love, forgiveness, karmic center. It's also one of your main foundation energy centers. So we've already done the message center workshop, but please, if you don't have the treasure or if you need a higher layer, please get one. It's so important. So our mental heart and our energy body. Gratitude is an emotion, but it also feeds into the aspect of our mental body, our physical body, and our spiritual body. So with the aspect of gratitude, it works mostly with our mental and emotional body. It is a gatekeeper for what messages we accept on a conscious level. Mind is the processor. Therefore, we're having the focusing method, which Evo will be going deeper into. And it is one of those processes where we are trying to hit every single layer of the Shen, Qi, and Jing. So we'll be, as far as the calligraphy and the practices, we'll have the Shen, the information, the heart layer, the mind layer will be focusing method, and the energy and matter is the manifesting layer. So we're going to be working powerfully on all those layers to open as far as possible to receive the most as we can to get the changes that we need. Now, the law of attraction is mind power, and it's below the heart. So if our heart is not open, we're going to have a limited capacity, mind capacity for the law of attraction. And then these are just some reviews. Chanting a mantra, it keeps the mind busy because the mind is a tool, and it's a tool that wants to have a job. The mind wants to have a task. And so we give it a task of chanting the mantra, because the mantra is a pure positive energy. Now, if you're chanting a mantra of, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time, I don't have, my wife is this, my wife is this, my wife is this. That's also a mantra, but that's just a negative mantra. And that is what you will manifest. So a mantra, just like everything else in this world, can be positive or negative. And it's really important to know, what are we feeding our mind? The thoughts are the key. And again, just a couple of reviews. The Zuchao and Third Eye are important to really clean the energy and the thoughts and everything we're feeding ourselves. So here's the cascade of positive and negative information. Like I just said, if it's a mantra, it could be a positive mantra. It could be like, oh, my so-and-so, my mom's great, my father's great, my daughter's great, my wife, my husband. Or it could be a negative mantra, like my kid doesn't do the dishes, my kid doesn't do that, my child doesn't do that, my husband. So it depends, what are you feeding yourself? What are you putting back into your warehouse? So it manifests more and more, and then you go, well, it's true. Yes, it's true, because you use your creation power to make a negative creation. You created a negative creation. Because instead of a positive message of compassion, of gratitude, you recreated and created again a negative message. And we do it so quickly because of our habits. It's so ingrained in us that we don't even realize what we're doing it. And we just keep saying, oh, it's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth. Okay, it can be the truth. It can be, yes, my relationship is strained. Yes, my finances are strained. Yes, I mean, that could be the truth. But how many of us want to keep recreating a negative reality? How many of us want to take this, what is apparently a truth, and transform it into positive? Isn't that what we're all here to do? Yes, we look at the state of the world and we can keep repeating, yes, this is happening, Trump's this, blah, blah, blah's that. But what do we want? Do we want to keep recreating what's in front of us? Or do we want to step into our power and create a reality and a presence that we want? We are not leaving it up to our old patterns. We're not leaving it up to, okay, whatever's happening around me, that's the way it is. We're stepping into our power, and we're working from the most powerful layer, which is the soul layer, the information layer. Because you, a person, can take all the action they want. So they can take all the action. They can keep working for years and years and years. Yet someone steals their business. Something goes wrong, they lose their business, or they don't get that promotion. Someone could be taking all the action they want in finding that relationship. They could be going on 100 dates. They could be on 20 websites. They could be asking parents and friends, do you know anybody? And they could be doing the work. They can take 100 million actions. But unless the information is there, positive information is there, they can take all the actions they want, but it's not going to manifest. That's why we need to work on our positive information. So it'll go to the heart, it'll go through the processor, our mind, and it will manifest on our energy and matter level. If you are not meant to find your true love in this lifetime, no matter how much you do, it cannot manifest. But once you receive that information and then you allow it to come through. So you think positive, you think with gratitude. Okay, I just went on my 10 millionth horrible date. Or you can think, okay, I went on my 10 million date. I have to be closer to the one. These are the qualities I liked in this person. This is what I enjoy. And you focus on that. And you make that your mantra. You make that your information, and it manifests on the energy and matter level. So it's very important what we keep feeding ourselves and what we're doing to manifest the life that we want. Gratitude is this really special aspect. So the science. So this is what modern medicine says. Even in the Mayo Clinic has its own gratitude program. Now, the Mayo Clinic is a huge clinic. It's a huge hospital in America. It's known as one of the best hospitals in the world. And they themselves have a gratitude program. Because studies have shown, as you can see on my screen, studies have shown that feeling thankful can affect our physical bodies. It can affect our energy and matter. It can improve our sleep, our mood, our immunity. Gratitude can decrease depression, anxiety, difficulties with chronic pain, and risk of disease. So it can actually help with risk of disease prevention. Now, this is the same and actually very much in alignment with Master Sha's teaching. Prevention is key. Feelings of gratitude can regulate cortisol production in your brain. Cortisol is a steroid, which when it's released in our bloodstreams, age us, cause lots of different issues in our body. And can also be more sensitive to issues, emotional imbalances like anger. So cortisol is something, it's a stress hormone. It's something that we try not to have in our bloodstream unless it's a legitimately flight or fight response. Like I have to run away from the tiger or something like that. It's a stress hormone we usually shouldn't, in our modern age, shouldn't be there. But because of our modern age, we're constantly exposed to all these stressing news, traffic, things that continuously 24/7 we access as distractions, but can also stress us. Again, it can reduce anxiety and stress, and gratitude can trigger the brain to release neurotransmitters and hormones associated with happiness, including dopamine and serotonin. So dopamine and serotonin are actually antidepressants, so you can avoid depression. Here you can see gratitude can decrease depression. So the science has already confirmed the effectiveness of gratitude. There are 3 stages of gratitude. So this is a process that hopefully you will be going through. You'll have your notebook throughout the program. Stage 1, acknowledging what you're grateful for in your life. Stage 2, expressing gratitude to others, integrating the essence of gratitude into your life and psyche. And I believe Ivo will be going more into that. And just the last thing I'm going to do before I hand it over to Ivo is that this little diagram, this, I guess you can kind of call it a bullseye figure, the law of resonance. So what happens when we have gratitude or positive information in our bodies is that, and this is the same thing if we have negative information in our bodies, but if we have positive information in our bodies, it will be reflected, it will resonate with our external experiences, events, people in our physical bodies as well. So, okay, so if we have positive information in our mental body, like gratitude, or emotional body, in our spiritual body, it will manifest in our external environment. Same thing with negative. If we have negative mindsets, attitudes, beliefs, then it will manifest in our external environments. So if we are grateful, the momentum that we build will continue to grow, and we will continue to have aspects, qualities, events, people, situations that we are grateful for. We will be decreasing our risk of depression. We will be decreasing our risk of disease. We will be actually passing all our spiritual tests, because that is that one quality that no matter what is happening outside in our spiritual life, in our physical life, which is really the same, they're all overlapping. There is no separation. They're all connected, because what we have in our spiritual body will come through to our mental, our emotional, and our physical. So it's all one, even though we like to think of it as separate, but it's not. Everything is a reflection of ourselves, and what we resonate with, what we have more in our information field, is what we will experience. And so we know how to increase our positive information. The fastest way is the treasures, Tao calligraphy, Tao water, Tao song, and more. You can also do self-effort, service, prayer, good thoughts, practicing love, forgiveness, patience. And ideally, we want both. We want Divine's Way, which is the 50% that Master Sha and his teachers in the Tao calligraphy field level 1, 2, 3, all the teachers can help you with. And we want the self-effort, which is your 50%. So we want all aspects to make it the most powerful as possible. If you do one or the other, it'll still work, it'll just take longer. So we will be doing a practice, but first let's go ahead and listen to Ivo and his practice, or his introduction into the focusing method. If anyone has any questions, please put it in the chat. Otherwise, Ivo, can you please go ahead?
Wow, Hina. What a presentation. Amazing. Thank you so much. Very inspiring. Well, maybe I can introduce a little bit myself very quickly before I go into my part. My name is Ivo Banaco. I'm in Portugal. I'm a Portuguese person and living next to Lisbon. And I've been collaborating with Hina, especially on the Love, Peace, and Harmony, our Love, Peace, and Harmony mission every day. We're going live on Instagram and Facebook on Tuesdays. It's been a very joyful and rewarding experience for me as a fairly recent Master Sha student. I used to say that I'm a pandemic student of Master Sha, because I found Master Sha in that time, and I've been in this fast track of learning, almost 20 years of teaching the Master Sha. And I've been doing my best, Tao hands, healer, Kuan Yin lineage holder, also advanced Julian student. So I've been going very deep with Master Sha's teachings. In parallel to that, I'm a certified coach. Actually, I'm first trained as an economist many years ago, and I quit everything to just jump into studies in consciousness and psychology and coaching. I dropped everything, a very fairly well-positioned job, to live in spiritual communities in many traditions. So it was really a step into the unknown, and a lot of experiences, good and bad, always learning, always being grateful for every kind of experience. And so that leads me to where I am now, here collaborating with Hina. And as I've been learning, there is one thing that I've learned for the many techniques and teachings that I was submitted to. There is one method that it's really close to my heart, and many people who know me in the community knows how much love I have with this method, that is so aligned with Master Sha's teachings, and it can bring us another angle to the same goal, to the same purpose, and that method is, it's called focusing. It became begin in the psychotherapy traditions, where many people found that there is a special kind of attention that the client can have within himself, which they eventually would call it focusing, that would enable them to move quicker through things, to blockages. Um, and that is a very fascinating actual literature, and I really went deeper, got trainings, and still going, still learning. And when I first read the Tao Science, written by Master Zhigang Sha and Dr. Ruin Xu, I could not help to find so much parallel between the focusing method and the Tao Science approach. And I will tell you quickly how. But first, let us do an exercise for the ones who are with that like face to face. Maybe they are more can be more ready to do this exercise. But I invite everyone if they can. Um, so focusing can be, and I will link after this. I will link focusing to gratitude. Of course, we want to actually to embody gratitude. That is what focusing is as a bridge. We want to embody gratitude in a deeper way that we have been so far. I speak for myself. We always can go further into the gratitude attitude. Um, but let us taste what focusing means. Focusing is a way to open the heart, to be like this, to open, as he was just saying. You can do so many things at the action level, but if you don't receive the positive information, if your heart is not open, the action will not actually succeed because there is a receptive part is not there. And focusing brings that in a very special way, a very, very specific, fine-tuned way. So like so if the definition of focusing is a very special way of connecting to our attention, like we say, we have a power of attention. For example, I have something here and I have something here. And I have the power to look at here and find this. But if I don't look here, I don't find here. That's my decision. I look and I find. If I keep looking this way, I only find this. It's the same thing with positive and negative information, right? Keep looking to the same things, and we don't actually have the attitude to just move our attention to other things. Uh, we can be in trouble. In focusing, that's what the special attention is. And I think I remember now, Zoritza, we already meant we talked about this in like a few years ago about focusing. Remember this? The felt sense. You remember yeah. So think about the structure that we all know from Tao science: soul, heart, mind, energy, and body. Um, let us see how do we receive, in a very concrete terms, how do we receive those things. Let us focus, for example, if you have an object, just object, like anything, can be just anything, like a pencil, a basket, something, and just the object. Just feel it as such, with no, I will tell you, with no interpretation of what that object is, because our mind already know this is a pencil. We already go into the mind. This is a pencil. It it is for writing. Da, 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 da. So we're already in the mind. But what about if we open our heart to experience it beyond the mind? Like it just tastes, just like a taste of it, just the sensory experiencing of the object that you have. Can you show your object? I have a pencil. So Ritza, what do you have? Oh, as well. Uh, so, okay, you choose one. I will do it with Zoritza and everyone. I will ask Zoritza to close her eyes and describe to me you're muted, just unmute to describe, just for us to be able to. Can you describe it, what are you receiving from, like, just sensing the object? Is it cold, for example? Is it warm?
Well, my first was like, I like the texture of the most of the part of this pencil because it's sliding, gliding. I don't like the pointy bit. For some
Okay.
reason, my body just doesn't like pointy. But I like this end with the rubber, and I like all the rest.
Oh, that's very
That's
interesting.
the feeling.
Uh-huh.
The feeling is that feeling of this. Immediately, my body responds different. Feeling of
Okay.
this.
How is that
Fine.
the not liking and negative? Well, how is it?
What did you say?
How is it like when you refer that you're not liking? What is the experience of the body?
The body reacts.
Like a contraction?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tension.
And what about when you like? How is it?
Contraction. I would say contraction.
Contraction.
The word
Okay,
contraction.
contraction from the body. And so when you like the parts that you like, how do you feel? Can you
Relaxed.
describe? Relax. Okay, that's good. Good. So let's stop here. Just thank you. It's a very important data. You see, like, this is the mind still not have. We're not trying to find an interpretation with the mind of why Zoritza likes this part, do not like this one. She just go into the feeling of it, like the experiential feeling of it. And this is an attitude because we rarely in our daily lives, most of us just pass through the day with not having that access to the experiential feeling of what's actually going on. Because if we did, we would, because, like, for example, Zoritza would find very quickly things that she wouldn't like, and she would not tolerate that negative part and go to the positive. But normally we are not in this state of attention to the positive and negative. We just go on our life with our minds generally, and we don't differentiate enough our feelings about what's going on. And so we lose the access to the warehouse of information of the soul in Tao science terms. The heart's not open enough, and the mind controls the action and not the soul. Um, Focusing people will not say this way. We can say this way through Tao science. It's way deeper. Um, and so if you think about things such as gratitude, you can right away see where this is going. This is just a single object. But if you can, for example, another layer of our exercise, if you can think about one memory that you have a very authentic experience of gratitude. Can you do that? Let's take like 20-30 seconds of you check in your mind, and can you just remember one moment where it was just like exquisite feeling of gratitude running through your whole body? And if you don't have that experience yet, that's okay. That's okay. That's why we're learning this. I will tell you one experience that I had a few years ago. I was in a car and I was listening to a full album of a band, and each song was so exquisite and so beautiful that I stopped the car, but just literally crying, full of gratitude for the whole album. It was such a healing experience for me that I had to stop the car and just deep gratitude sense of that full album, like 10 tracks. Just like, oh, thank you so much, so much. I was like, this kind of spontaneous bowing down to what just happened. I was like crying, my heart was open. So that's my feeling, what just came. I would love to hear some of your experience if you have one to share. It could be very simple, something in the bookstore, or someone, your cousin, anyone.
I'll share a quick one while people are thinking. I remember years ago, like years ago, and I still remember it because that's how gratitude can anchor you
How
in.
powerful it is. Yes.
I just moved to the Caribbean where my parents were, and I was learning to drive on the other side of the road from the mainland states. And as I was backing out, ironically, I think it was, I don't know if it was the DMV or whatever, the driver's place, the DVLA in United Kingdom. And I scratched the person's car. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. So we went inside and we asked, okay, who owns this car? I scratched it. And the lady inside, she was like, oh, she was so annoyed. She was like, oh my gosh. And then I was like, oh, she's really gonna do in my insurance or whatever. And then I was still young. So she came out, she looked at it, and it wasn't a scratch, it was a dent. It was a small dent, but it was a dent. And she was like, you know what? It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just be careful. Next time, just be careful. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's like, oh, I was so happy. And I was so
Wow.
grateful because I was like, because I was still young. So any amount of money, even if it was 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks,
Of
whatever, was a
course.
lot. I was so grateful. And I remember her and I still admire
Wow.
her. I still admire for her to have such a big
Yeah.
heart to be like, okay, she's a young kid,
Yes.
just just it's
Yeah.
okay. So that's my gratitude
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
which makes me, and
That's
that's the
beautiful.
thing about our brain, because our brain doesn't know if it's happening in the moment. If we remember our brain will still produce those hormones. So in my
And
body
produce it
right
right
now is
away, isn't it?
yep. So already
Yeah.
I feel the oxytocin, I feel like the serotonin, like the happy hormones. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that's what we want more of.
That,
That's
that,
what keeps us
that's
young.
Thank you so much, Hina. This is a really important point. This is what focusing is. You see what I just did? I just made you go back, just focus your attention to your memories to a given subject, which in this case is gratitude. And you went in there and you just remember something that you linked that to gratitude right away. And the thing actually, it was experienced very vividly. I experienced it when I shared my story, and Hina just did it. And this is a part of what focusing is. We're not focusing as a trick here. Focusing is not necessarily so interested in the story itself, but the story will convey an experience, and we want to tap into that experience. So, for example, Hina could just say the story without feeling. Oh, it's da da da. Many people are like that, telling a lot of stories da 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 with no experiential connotation. If But if you pause a little bit, and if that was not the case with Hina, but imagine it was, oh, da, 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 there was a story, and I would ask, so what did you feel about it in your body? And the person has to stop a little bit to make the link between the mind's narrative and the heart. What did the heart experience? And that right away produces something that is quite different from what the mind is telling, although related. But if you keep living our life, for example, gratitude is a very well known virtue that every religion teaches about. But I will ask, how many people really feel gratitude? For many of us, gratitude is a, a, a very good idea. For many of us, gratitude is a moral ideal. It's not a living experience. And so, with Master Sha, uh, with Master Sha's teachings, it's all about practice and experiencing things. It's like if you want to know if a pear is sweet, just taste it. What is that? Taste it. It's experience. How could I ever explain to you what a pear tastes like? I cannot. You need to taste it, and focusing is exactly that. That training of the to lead the mind to your heart constantly as an attitude. It is called in the focusing literature felt sense, which is different from thoughts and it's even different from emotions. Emotion and thoughts can be said to be at the mind level, but the felt sense, which we really feel in the background, that belongs to the heart and the soul and the heart. And it's much more abstract. For example, if I ask Hina, what did you actually felt in your body when the person said, oh, that's okay, be more careful. Like, I was happy, but like if I would conduct a little experience with Hina would say something like, oh, my chest expands, and I was like, and so it's very personal. And when you tap into that, you are focusing. And that's what we want in these 5 sessions that we will have. We want a kind of a training of our attention just such a place that we can just, when we end this program, we can tap into gratitude or whatever the virtues that we want, like this, because we know how. We train our mind to go to introduce the mind to the heart constantly and create a bridge. And we cannot fail. If we're missing, we know how to do it to go back. So that's our goal. And of course, let me say this with our techniques, with the field, the Tao calligraphy field, and with Master Sha's techniques enhances the focusing process to the whole new level, really to the whole new level. Okay, how? How? Thank you so much for hearing me. If you have any questions or doubts, please say something. I will check the chat if there is any message. Tina, I will pass.
Instead of writing. So do you suggest, can I speak?
Yes.
Do you suggest that we should be focusing throughout the day? Let's use the terminology like that. So throughout the day, should we try to constantly investigate the felt sense, or how does it feel?
Good question. That's a very good question. Yeah. It's not an easy question to answer, because if I say yes, you'll go about your day and maybe you overdo it in such a way that you lose the practical aspect of your life that is also very needed to go about your day. But as like For example, the Buddhist says you should be always be mindful with a very sharp attention to whatever is happening. So that's the goal, like a mindful heartfulness attitude towards life. That's the goal. But please do not do any harm. Do not push yourself to do anything, because sometimes there is many moments of our day we just have to do things in a way that is more practical. But whenever you can, you go back. Such, for example, Master Sha, for example, and I find a parallel that is very similar to focusing. Master Sha says that always put your mind attention to focus on your lower dantian. For example, sometimes he says Mingmen point, and sometimes he says the first soul house. But let's say always focus your mind on your lower dantian. So you go about your day. You don't find that very practical to begin with, but with practice, you will find that actually it will enhance your perception of things and the way you relate to life. And actually, as you know, gratitude is actually situated in, as Hina said, on the second soul house and lower dantian. So actually, if you focus on that experience, I would say the answer would be yes. We should always be mindful of the way we are experiencing life. But with that intention, if you're feeling that you're forcing yourself, do not provoke any violence with that. I'm saying this because I've done that myself. That's why I'm cautious in the answer. And overdoing it is also not the answer. You just got the taste of this, got the meaning if it makes sense to you, and slowly incorporate that in your life. Because this permits the doorstep also to soul communication. But that's another. When you're more in contact with your felt sense, you're more in contact with actually what's the guidance for you. In a very subtle way, but it's a whole new topic. Does this reply to your question, Teresa? Okay, thank you. A really important question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, so as we can see, there aren't many people raising their hands with, yes, I remember this time when I was grateful. So I think perhaps this workshop is for you. But let's go ahead and do a practice. Because we're running out of time. I did want to offer everybody blessings. And we're going to have some time in the field of the Tao calligraphy of the greatest gratitude.
Wow.
I want you to open your hearts. Everyone, open your hearts, because if you're on this journey and you're watching the recording in the future, or probably in the future, and if you're here in the present right now, there is an aspect of your soul that brought you here, right now. And it is one where you are given an opportunity to go deeper in the wisdom, in the blessings, in opening your heart, and easier being able to grab those instances, those events, those messages of gratitude in your life. And it's not just we're going to do a 1 month program and then you move on to the next one. It's something that we incorporate into our everyday practice, which this whole year, if you've been with me since January, it's been a step-by-step process of first the greatest forgiveness, because we need to do forgiveness to help transform the negative messages. Then we went through the different energy centers, because you have to be grounded if you want to grow. And now we're at the point where then we did transform anger, because you have your foundation, you're doing your forgiveness, you're getting the virtue, but we need to keep the virtue. Therefore, the transforming anger workshop. And now we're at the greatest gratitude workshop, because everyone who's gone through this process will go through spiritual testing. And if you're on this journey, you have to pass your spiritual testing. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to grow. So everything I've done so far with Soul Blossoms London and everything, it has always been a process, a journey of building one on top of another. And I always try my best to offer the most I can. And again, gratitude is something that will help you pass all your spiritual tests, because no matter what happens, if you can say thank you, you are passing your spiritual testing. So go ahead and sit up nice and tall. Let me turn on some music, and we're just going to trace the greatest gratitude. I'm going to have the instrumental version of Dot Sabe playing in the background, because it's Kuan Yin's special day and month. And just think about how you can open your heart more to gratitude. Ask for instances, information, messages, people to make you grateful. And just enjoy. You can trace, you can meditate, but enjoy this field of the greatest gratitude. Okay, so slowly get to the bottom of tracing the calligraphy. And just in some silence, we want to just close your eyes to help integrate the messages of unconditional gratitude, which offer us the greatest growth on our spiritual journey to help pass our tests, help clear our second soul house, to help us strengthen our emotions, to help ground us. The greatest gratitude is a huge quality. It can empower us to go through what we must and learn what we must. Therefore, as we are learning our lessons and we're passing our tests, we no longer have to repeat some of these lessons. We clear our message warehouse, we clear our residence with messages that do not offer us gratitude. And in fact, we resonate with higher frequencies and vibrations of gratitude, which translate to events, people, situations, emotions, health, everything that has in relation to gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation of a very full and thriving spiritual journey. It is one that must be felt, not just understood on a theoretical level, but one that must be felt in our hearts, in our souls. It must be embodied in our thoughts, words, deeds, and actions. Only then can we truly manifest a world that makes not only us happier and healthier, but our friends, our family members, our coworkers, our communities, cities, and on and on and on. We can stay on this path until we accomplish our respective tasks, until we can accomplish what we came here to do. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead, take one final deep breath. And as you breathe out, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And please share in the chat, or if you would like to unmute, I would love to hear about your experience, any insights, any thoughts, any questions. Please share. And in the meantime, I'll just read Susie's message. In every moment, I'm grateful to Heaven and Master Sha for all the blessings that I receive, for the language to express myself with more gratitude and compassion that I've learned to transform my life and serve more. That is a beautiful message. Does anyone else want to share? I want to be mindful of everybody's time as well.
I may share.
Of course.
It's interesting how your ideas about what's needed in terms of qualities or physical or spiritual terms or whatever is somehow always happen to be like parallel with my needs and where I am. So like when you about lower than Tien workshop, forgiveness, like I think 4 days ago, I said to myself, I really, really, really need to change my attitude. I really, need to be it instead of just know that this is what you should do and how it's done. But I and I was thinking of gratitude. And I was thinking, I have to have this feeling every day of my life. And especially now I'm having new health challenges. And it's quite difficult. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought now I'm going to go just up the hill. And this is, oh. And I said, oh boy, I really need to step out. I need to be happy no matter what. I need to, I took these photos, for example. This is, where is it? This is the little boy I used to take care when I lived in Australia. And when I see these photos, it immediately my heart opens. And I thought, okay, and I put this on my dining kitchen table. So every morning when I go for breakfast, he will be having breakfast with me here on my next to my plant. And this is so endearing. Look, bathing in the tap. No, how you call that in English? I don't know. So, and I was thinking, how do I do that? How do I constantly keep my smile and, gratitude? And so now Attica sent me the thing because I don't open emails often. And she said, did you see Hina has this gratitude workshop? I opened my email. I said, oh yeah, she sent me information, but I didn't look in there. And yeah, so now there is a little hint that I have to remember more often things that I'm grateful for. And I do have quite a few things that I experience gratitude for that are really, some are really grande, that God did, and I'm grateful, and more than grateful. I feel taken care of, and so it's really it it really has been shown that that there are things I have gratitude for. And like Hina or Ivo said, how come? No, you said at the beginning when you was talking about gratitude, we just don't live with that. It stayed with me like, wow, really, no one. You walk, you go everywhere, nobody. And I'm thinking, look what happened to me. God woke me up, took me. And I don't remember that every day. I don't bow to that every day. That would be the right thing to do. It just came to me. That's what I'm going to bow down every morning. How we oh man, this is planet Earth. Nobody teaches anything as little children. There is no wisdom impeded, how do you say, given to us. Like parents do a bit of work, but I apologize. We have to be grateful. So, yeah, thank you. They did the best because they also, nobody taught them. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Master Shah says we should first, when we light the candle, first to parents, gratitude to parents. Then I've been struggling with that. Only from recently I can do that and feel I'm not bothered saying thank you to my parents. I was disturbed. Thank you for what? But now I'm much better. So, yeah.
Well, that's
I think
beautiful, Zarika. I think I definitely see your progress and I see you opening, especially from the beginning of the year. Also, Atika, I can see her progress and how much she's grown and how much she's like recognizing, oh, I need to send this person this or that person that. That really shows her growth and her heart opening. So I will say this one thing before we end. I with Parvana. I will always remember the very first video that I had to edit for the London Center. And I remember her specific testimonial, and she was so happy and she was so excited. And for me, I was like, sometimes when I was getting bored, and I'm like, oh, I can't find another video, I have to do this. I would always think of that one video of Parvana, and that would always cheer me up, always cheer me up. That was like that was one of the first few ones I edited. And I always, yeah, I just have to say, Parvana, thank you, because that was your video, that was your experience. You shared, and every time I think about it, it was just such a beautiful video. And we all have these experiences. But sometimes when we're on the journey and we get stuck in the mud of growth, it's hard to recall on these experiences, but that's why we do want to get to a place where we clear enough of the negative information that we can recall these messages when we need. That's the whole reason we are doing this workshop. And it's not just one workshop. Like if this is like really intensive, and even for the fee is really little, and that's only because we're trying to accomplish more than one thing. That's why we've managed to keep the fee so low. So for two workshops, actually, the first workshop is 27th, which is this Saturday. The second workshop is August 31st. So you at the end of August here. So there's actually two workshops. There's 4 Tao field sessions. So and 4 weekly follow-up sessions. And all of that is just £60. But if you want to upgrade to a treasure to help progress your journey further, you can upgrade. But really, for £60 for 2 workshops, 4 field sessions, and follow-up sessions, that is really, really low. Like even it, and it's only because we are trying to, we're introducing this type of scheduling program. So that's why we've managed to keep the fee so low for everything that we're offering. But again, there is an upgraded package if you want like the Tao quality of love, forgiveness, compassion, or if you want a healing emotion, you can get it for £200 along, that's with everything else. So everything that we're really trying to have people be more grateful because of everything that we are going through with Mother Earth. Having gratitude will help us pass through many, many challenges. And anytime we think we're done with one physical issue like Zoe or emotional issue, this and that, because we're trying to grow very big, the next one will be waiting, because we want to clear as much negative as possible. And we want to do it in this lifetime when we have these tools, when it's relatively easy to clear as much as we can. So gratitude helps us avoid spiritual journey fatigue or burnout. It helps us stay on the path, remember, anchor in that positive energy, information, and matter. So Toril said, thank you for this session. I have to watch the replay. Yes, we will send the recordings and we will send the replay. So Kim, it is actually, if you're totally new, July 27th workshop is completely complimentary. If you're a longer term student without any treasures, it's £60. And if you want a higher level Tao quality treasure, which it's more than just a body part, condition, system, or organ, it's a Tao quality then that one is 200 pounds, including the workshop and everything else. But please bring someone new, because again, we want to reach new people. And if there are newer people, we will adjust the language to be more into what they need. But I also have to admit, I go into the flow. So sometimes if the person is ready, it'll come out. But most of the time we try to keep it very simple, because that's what we all need. We need simple language, because we need to really increase in our Shenxi and Jing simple language, so we understand and we can explain and we can embody it better. So, Ivo, do you have any other closing words or remarks, or anything else you would like to say before we end?
But first of all, I'm just amazed how the field is increased with the talk, how we are so blessed that you have the calligraphy, the Dagana calligraphy is just amazing. We were just talking about focusing gratitude, but then the calligraphy came in and it's just like the field is such a blessing in and of itself. Just for that, it's just worth it. If we didn't do anything else but just to be in the field with the calligraphy, it would be just way more than enough. But we will have many exercises, experiential exercises, and take gratitude from different angles so that we can actually embody it and understanding it deeper. So it's really worthy to 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 be with us and 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 walk with us in this gratitude way. There is a very beautiful line in a sacred text that says, "Love is the way that I walk in gratitude," and and that is what we are looking for. This is all about the path of love through gratitude and through the Tenda, of course. So that's a very inexpensive chance to actually embody this quality. Yeah, thank you so much for your participation here, and thank you, Hina, for giving us this space.
Oh, no, thank you, everybody. And yes, we are blessed in this field. So we've received all this information from the Greatest Gratitude Calligraphy. So we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And now that we've received this virtue of gratitude, again, we want to have it go from information to all the way down to the energy and matter level and anchor it in. And the more we do that, the more we can maintain our frequency and vibration high. So no matter what challenges come, we can meet it, we can grow, and we can continue. So please join us, because as Ivo already mentioned, we are making this process a lot quicker by opening the heart from the Tao calligraphy messages. We're opening the heart. Evil with this practice is opening the mind, and then it falls into the energy and matter level, which is our body, our experiences, the people. And we will have a structured formula, and everything will be there for this whole month. And we recommend having a notebook and writing your final goal. At the end of the month, I want this. I want this much amount of money. I want this healthy body. I want my true love. I want this and that. So have an end goal in mind, and we will go through the process of guiding you where you can put it through and hopefully manifest as quickly as possible. So thank you, everybody. And I think that's it. So we'll have the recordings out. Please bring new people. More than happy, because we are supposed to spread the wisdom. It's part of all of our tasks. So please introduce as many as you can. So thank you. Love you all. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.